Start.
Good morning, everyone. So we have reached a situation where we are not only have to fight the COVID, but we have to now fight the fear of COVID and paranoia accompanying it. And we tend to stifle people around us with our worries and fears. Overcoming the fear and anxiety of this COVID and the current situation, Bitsa Chennai has come up with the Share and Care series. Thanks to Shika, who has initiated this initiative, which will help us to face the situation, techniques to relax, calm our mindset, enhance our saturation levels, and at the end, we will all return with a relaxed frame of mind. Today's we have a speaker from our Bitsian, Magesh, who will address on how to stay resilient in this pandemic times. A brief note about Magesh, a civil engineer from BITS Pilani, began his career in 2005 after working in diverse domains from a design engineer to a CAD trainer and to a business development executives working in Middle East, and he has returned to India in 2017. After have gained his knowledge in sales field, also in 2018 he realized his calling to step at a freelancer and working as a speaker consultant on the theme of total well-being. Apart from this, he is also a training consultant. Today, we love to hear from him on his tips on how to handle fear and avoid in these pandemic times. Welcome, Magesh, and welcome one and all. First, I would ask Srikanth to start and brief on this Saran Care series.
Thanks, Murugavel. Friends, this is a small attempt by Bitsa Chennai to anchor all of us to firm reality and ground so that we don't get led by wayward thoughts on what we see on TV or what news we hear. There is a certain reality, there is a certain perspective, and we as responsible members of our family and the Bitsin community, we need to shoulder that responsibility and be the leader to be calm and to calm others around us and give them positive hope. While we will not like to ponder over the outcomes, we need to live for today and not bother about the tomorrow. We should be happy. Following this concept and this theme, this is just a series where we are having our own Bitcoin community friends sharing their thoughts, ideas, and if they are professionally qualified in this field, we will undergo training from them. For Magesh, this is a passion. With these few words, let me hand it over to Magesh. Thank you, Murugavel, and welcome all to this Bitsa Chennai effort.
Uh, Thanks, Srikanth and Murugavel. Uh, Continuing with the session, first my sincere apologies to all the participants for the inadvertent delay. Let us get along with the session. Thanks, Murugavel, for your kind words, and Srikanth for the inauguration of the Share and Care series. Murugavel, is my presentation visible?
No, you are yet to start screen sharing.
Okay. Yeah, I think presentation is visible now, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Make it the full screen.
Put it on slide mode presentation.
Presentation mode.
This is now in edit mode.
Don't say no.
Rightmost corner in the bottom.
Magesh, bot.
The one next to the zoom and the zoom pandra controls. Yeah, next to that. Yes.
So, continuing with the session, as Murugavel had pointed out, I began my career as a civil engineer, and after working in different domains, right now I'm professionally working as a training consultant, and along with this, trying to spread awareness on well-being. Having observed the great impact it has had on me, it has been a great passion to try to share the improvements that I've seen in myself among friends and community. So I begin the session with a prayer. The entire session is around this theme. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Give me courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. So this is roughly the outline of the session, beginning with a brief introduction and then how we can emerge resilient through the current difficult times that we are facing. That is through the stages of acceptance of the current reality, that we are facing something which is beyond our control, and adaptation. What are the methods, new habits, small changes that we can incorporate in our daily habits, which will cumulatively have a huge impact. And revitalization is all about the small impacts that we see, which lead us to make these changes itself as a sustainable habit. Followed by conclusion and question answer session. So all of us are facing difficult times. This is a once in a lifetime event, but we can gather solace and strength from history, as we know that similar events have happened in the past, like the Spanish flu in 1918, SARS in 2003. See, these events have happened for a particular time span, and then over a period of time, it has been brought under control. It was the collective strength and mutual help that helped the humanity overcome, and this time also it shall be the same. People from different age group are attending the current session, and as a part of our growing up process, we would have ourselves personally come across difficult moments, and with the help of the support of the family and friends, and also our innate inner strength, we have come through it. Please remember this often used phrase, this too shall pass, because the difficulties that we are seeing around us, it's only for a temporary phase of time. So this too shall pass. Only we need to stay vigilant, follow the preventive measures, get vaccinated, encourage people around us to get vaccinated as well, foregoing the vaccine hesitancy that they are having. See, on an individual level and on a community level, it is possible for us collectively to come out of the difficult circumstances by taking up the preventive measures. Just if I take you a year back, last February or March, India was impacted, and then we had continuous lockdowns. The first phase began in March, and it took about 5-6 months for the cases to come down and some sense of normalcy to come. October or November. See, back then we did not have the benefit of vaccination also. So since then, the cases began to come down by January, and tremendous efforts were going on around the world to develop the vaccine. See, in normal times, typically developing vaccine for any communicable disease is a process of several years, 3 years or 5 years. No, people from medical and pharma, if anybody is there in the group, they can attest to this. But sincere efforts have been put by huge teams such that within 9 months, we have been able to develop vaccine at global level. And in the month of January, India had started the production as well. And very few countries in the world have been able to develop a vaccine using their own R&D. So India is one among them. We could develop a vaccine, Covaxin, on our own, and also start the production as well after getting the necessary approvals, after all the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials are got over. So I am just arriving at the point that now that vaccination has started, once maximum people are covered by vaccination, this disease the impact of the disease will come down, and progressively we'll be able to come out of the difficulties caused by it. So the human spirit and the power of community bonding is the key to really get over this period. My friends, fear stalks everyone. As last year we have seen the kind of dire situation that we are seeing, that we saw in our country in the last 2 months, which has been brought under control to some extent in the past 2 weeks. Similar situation had played out in countries like Spain and Italy last year during the first wave. And a similar thing is being, this similar situation is being felt here, experienced here, because all of a sudden there was a sudden surge in cases, and the current health system as it exists could not cope up with the caseloads. Nevertheless, with overall community support, slowly things are getting back to track. Fear abounds when we do not understand the cause, when we do not understand something. Now, as far as this current virus is concerned, we have data only from December 2019, when the virus origin was pointed out by China to World Health Organization. And since then, roughly about 18 months of data. So based on the data collected, how to deal with the disease, the therapy is also evolving. right now our best chance is preventive measures, following the preventive measures and getting vaccinated. But other than that, a lot of therapy has evolved. The good thing is people even as old as 80 years or 90 years, 100 years have posted full recovery. So there is nothing to fear as far as disease is concerned. Only the people with comorbidities, we need to protect them as far as possible, as the disease seems to have adverse effect on people with comorbidities. So fear and anxiety, how do we get around this? We can only get around this by focusing on the positive side of life. You know, they say an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So having your regular routine and having your basics taken care of, that is having the right sleep, right food, moderate exercise, these things, if they are taken care of, our mind can be insulated from what is happening around us. And other thing, situation which we are facing, apart from the fear of the disease, is strict lockdowns being implemented, freedom of movement being curtailed. This has caused and it continues to cause immense stress. As man is a social being, and the emotional bonds, especially in our country, is very strong among people. Being not able to meet people, the elderly people not being able to hug or spend time with with their uh, with their grandchildren. Sometimes in some families, the parents having to get isolated with their children. So these are some of the challenges we are facing. We will be able to rise above this, only when we think beyond ourselves and our family. This community around us, if we can expand our heart to really consider the community living around us as our family, then only we will have the large-heartedness to comply with the regulations. So bear with these limitations which have been put, because they are being put for community's welfare. Community's welfare is your welfare. The problem with the current disease is the current strain which is going on. That is, the virus gets mutated and new strains appear. The new strain which the people are getting affected seems to be more virulent in terms of the spread rate. So that seems to be the cause for the rapid increase in the cases. Okay, so let us move on. Acceptance. So just to recap, remember the idiom, this too shall pass. This will enable you to accept the current situation and keep the community's welfare in your mind. This will develop the patience and tolerance within you to comply with the current lockdown situation. Now more than a year has passed since we have dealt with the disease and its impact on our economy, on our individual cells. So now we have seen. So the whole attempt of the session is to prepare our minds to accept the inevitable and find ways to really cope up through this current situation. So I am moving to the next stage, adaptation. So Charles Darwin's quotation comes to my mind. It's not the strongest of the organisms which survives, not the most intelligent. Only those organisms will survive that are the most adaptable. So as lockdowns were being initiated last year, first few weeks or few months when work was being shifted from office to home, in our own forms, the household was put under tremendous strain. The women, the householders, there were a lot of adjustments which needed to be made. So, after a couple of months or so, we somehow found a way to adjust, adapt, and get along with the prevailing scenario. So that was as regards to the accommodating the working life and the home life. Same way for our physical fitness and mental well-being as well. Even though the things I have mentioned, good sleep, nutritious food, all of this we know already. Why there is more focus now? It's because we need to be at our health-wise, physically at our best, mentally composed, and we need to have the emotional balance to deal with the current scenario. So just to quickly get through the points mentioned, see, our biological system has a rhythm. So as far as sleep system is concerned, 6 to 7 hours sleep was in the normal case. Now 7 to 8 hours as sleep is essential. At least 6.5 to 7 hours of good sleep routine is essential to maintain the circadian rhythm. As sleep is not just meant for physical rest, there are biological processes which happen through the sleep stages. Your entire body cells get repaired, muscle tissues, those people who are exercising know that tissue repair, and all through the day, different impressions which you are exposed to through the 5 senses, these get recorded to the short-term memory through the day. The essential ones are, stored as long-term memories. Like this, a lot of biological processes are going on through your sleep routine. The sleep routine has 3 stages: non-rapid eye movement, rapid eye movement stage, and the deep sleep stage. These 3 stages are roughly 1.5 hours, and minimum 4 such cycles. So 4 into 1.5 is 6 hours. So I cannot emphasize this more. good sleep routine, not only for our physical health, for our mental rejuvenation as well. Nutritious food, this is being already being taken care of. We have been taking measures to include immunity boosting food, moderate exercise. So I don't think all of us or most of us are taking time out. I'm not asking you to become a fitness freak or something. Just minimum 20 to 30 minutes taking a walk, jogging, swimming, playing shuttle, badminton, whatever is the form of exercise you want to follow, whether it is a traditional swimming, jogging, running, or the modern Zumba, pilates, or whatever form of fitness routine you want to follow, it's up to you, but minimum 20 to 30 minutes a day, not just for the physical rejuvenation that you get. So most of you would have experienced after a nice jog, you feel good. That's because of the release of endorphins, feel good hormones. So exercise plays a crucial role in setting the tone for the day, for your mental freshness as well. And most important, it is immunity enhancing. The exposure to the sunlight, the morning cool breeze. So this is very essential. So these instructions are for all to follow. And I have come to know from discussions with the people in general that during the work from home situation, women in the household have been put under tremendous strain because they no longer have their privacy. Their routine daily life. Housemates not available, and several other circumstances have placed additional burden on them. So I'm addressing all the women folk at home. So take your me time, have some time dedicated as a me time, personal time out, where you do what you love to do, whether it is listening to music, reading books, or whatever relaxes you. So that the rest of the day you continue to attend to your duties and responsibilities. And household work now is best time to share the responsibility with your spouse, children, make them more responsible, so you get some time off to rest and rejuvenate. And those families who have to handle children, it's a Herculean task to manage them. The only way is to have an activity sheet, give them tasks, many projects to work through the day, and try to take breaks from your work schedule and join them or monitor them. So that way you can keep them engaged. Most important, not to leave them on their own way to spend time in laptops and tablets. No, these gadgets, whether the being allowed to play video games or watching YouTube videos, so these should be used as rewards for their completion of assigned tasks. And whether it is a husband or wife, if you can take some time off in reading out the books, playing board games with your children, nothing better than that. Moving on. So largely the things I have discussed in the last slide was about the physical well-being. Now, so having adjusted to the new reality that we are facing, accepted the inevitable reality, found ways to adapt ourselves to the new reality. We have seen methods to develop and maintain a good physical wellness. So, what about mental wellness? So, just like you're working through the day and you take you you relax in the evening, you watch TV, uh, you visit social media websites, and then spend some time conversing with your families and friends. So all these relaxation activities aid your physical, mental, emotional well-being. In addition to these things, certain practices which have been listed here, these are time-tested practices, globally practiced, and the practices mentioned here are essential for our mental and emotional well-being. Maintaining a gratitude journal. So the two activities listed at the top, self-reflection and gratitude journal. So this you can make it a part of your routine before you go to sleep, before you go to bed. Gratitude journal is nothing but thinking through the day, the good moments you have had, some pleasant conversation, some things people surprised you with. You can just list down 2-3 incidents which you are grateful for, which you are thankful for receiving. It can be an appreciation, or it can be an incident where you helped out someone in that time of need. These recalling these things really helps relieve any stress. Through the day, from morning to evening, without us being aware, we are impacted by stressful moments. These toxins, these stress triggers needs to be cleansed on a daily basis. So different people do it in different ways. Some people do meditation. Some people, right away. Some people, any difficulties which they had through the day, they write about it. Either they write a personal diary, or some of the people blog about it. Any difficult conversation which you had, either on a one-to-one personal relationship level, or some incident which has bothered you from the office space, or anything which is impacting your mind, putting it in writing greatly relieves your mind of that stress. So gratitude journal is one way where as you recall the good moments through the day, this will relieve the stress, as it enhances your mind, as it enhances your inner power, relieves you of any built-up stress. Your heart grows kind. Any small fights or any small problems you had with people in and around you, you forgive them. See, two ways issues get resolved at mental level. One is you forgive the person with whom you had the issue, and then it will not remain as a stress point in your mind. The other way is you forget. Sometimes the other people have made the mistakes. If you're not able to forgive, whether you can forget, you can move along. So gratitude journal is a very powerful method. Self-reflection is just sitting on an easy chair, mentally recalling the day right from the beginning to the end. It is just a mental process, wherein in a non-judgmental manner, you go through the entire day's proceedings, mentally recalling. What happens, this is a very powerful way of cleansing your mind. As you recall the day's events from the morning to the night, you will see that typically what happens is, the key events during the day that happened, those things come to the conscious mind from your subconscious. Those things, I earlier recalled that events, impressions that happen get recorded in the short-term memory, and then later during sleep, it becomes long-term memory. So, the events, activities that happen through the day, as you recall, you're able to see the pleasant moments where you had behaved right, also the difficult moments where you may have been wrong. And when you just recall it in a non-judgmental way, you are able to see the same situation from the other's point of view. And thus, it's a very powerful way of self-correction. So, daily self-reflection is a very powerful way to cleanse away the mental toxins, any issues which you have had through the day. Meditation, you're already aware, meditation has a great impact on our physical well-being, mental well-being, and emotional well-being as a whole. It also helps us cleanse emotional toxins, resulting in rejuvenating sleep. You can do it in the morning, you can do it in the evening, as per the daily routine that you set for yourself. And many people who are hesitant, about meditation, let me make it very simple and easy for you. Any task that you do wholeheartedly, without your focus getting diverted to any other thing, is meditation. That means somebody who likes gardening, who do it in the mornings, evenings, they lose themselves in that completely. Somebody who is taking a walk, a leisurely walk, somebody likes to read books, somebody likes to listen to music, somebody likes to blog away. Any activity which is done with a fully focused mind, that you lose yourself completely in that activity, is meditation. This I am telling for people who have not yet initiated into the routine of meditation, regular dhyana or meditation. So what I would encourage people to do is, continue doing what your heart most likes doing, whether it is gardening, writing, reading, listening to music. That is also meditation. But also try to get to learn the proper meditation, because it is even more powerful than the meditation that you're doing without you being aware of it. So I encourage you to continue to do both. It's just that the meditation, the proper process, is more beneficial to you. The earliest you get to learn and practice, the better. Moving along. Benefits of meditation have been listed here. Increasing self-awareness, focusing on the present, reducing negative emotions, and also your imagination and creativity. So the meditation as a process, it works at all three levels: the body, mind, and spirit. Done in the morning, it enables, it greatly rejuvenates the mind to carry on the tasks of the day, and also in our work life, as we face constant deadlines and schedules, tasks to be completed. Hello.
Yeah, hi Mahesh, we can hear you.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for the delay. There was Wi-Fi connection and got rebooted. Just a moment. So we were discussing the benefits of meditation. So I was just mentioning that other than the physical well-being, meditation also greatly benefits our mental and emotional well-being. Hello. Okay, there was
Yes, yes, Mahesh.
yeah. I'm sorry. There was some temporary disconnection due to the internet. Okay, so just to recap, a quick recap. So we have seen how to accept the current reality. What are the ways and means that we can adopt so that we can. Hello, Murugal, can you hear me?
Yes, Mahesh. Do you
Yeah.
have any internet problem still?
Yeah, yeah. Now I switched over to mobile internet, so we should be able to get along. The Wi-Fi connection seemed to have a problem. So, just to quickly recap, we have seen how we can overcome the difficult reality that we are facing through different methods of adaptation. How to, what are the measures to build our physical well-being? What are the measures that we can adopt to overcome the mental stress and also the emotional problems that we are facing in our day-to-day life? The key thing here is, one on the one side, we are impacted by the biological or medical impact, so that we are able to cope up by following the preventive measures and having getting vaccinated. What about the economic scenario? So many people, so many families are facing the scenario of reduced salaries, job uncertainty, when the economy will pick up. So it's not just the health aspect alone, it's also the livelihood aspect which is coming to focus. You know, the only way to get through is to have a near time focus. Many of the people who are attending the session, I believe, are the middle age, 30 to 45, 50, or 50 plus. So in our life, we have gone through difficult stages, and we have picked up and overcome those stages. So right now, the only way we can retain sanity and get along is by stop worrying about the future and living in the present moment. Focus on today's priorities. No, it's easier said than done, right? To really put this into practice, we need to just recall the initial prayer. We need to know what is within our control. So, see, some event is happening around us. Some event is happening around us. As a response to that, we are altering our way of life. We are altering our thinking. We are altering our behavior. So, I'm repeating this. See, what we have in our control is only our reaction to the outside situation. So it means we retain focus on how to maintain our health, all the physical, mental, emotional well-being. Other than that, continue to being able to do well in our jobs. Support or anchor our inner circle of friends and families. See, the economy and the job scenario, everything will stabilize in the near term. So the focus in the immediate term is just staying put, dealing with the current problem of just getting through this period. If it is a loss of job, eventually you'll be able to find a job. If it is cut in the salary, everything will get sorted out on its own. Living in the present moment means do what is best that is possible within your capacity. And if you are able to do well for yourself, see what you can do for your known circle, whether it is monetarily giving donations or lending a shoulder, sharing their burden, whatever ways that you can help out each other. So live in the present moment, have a short-term focus, that will really stop unnecessary thoughts to enter our mind. When we are focused, razor sharp on what is it that on my individual capacity and on a collective basis, by being a part of a volunteer group or in any such manner, how I can support or safeguard the people around me, the community around me. So work on your physical, mental health by increasing the self-awareness, patience and tolerance. These are the two key qualities we need to get through this period. So we are getting to the end of the presentation. There is just one more slide to go. I want to emphasize this.
Your screen is not shared. The slide is not there. Murugavel, correct me.
Yeah, revitalization. Next slide, you are changing, Magesh, no?
Yeah. I'm going to change. So,
okay.
So I have mentioned all along the presentation that we have to take individual steps and also work in a collective manner. But it all begins with you. You need to take control. You need to take a resolution that I will work on improving my physical health and well-being by taking steps. I will be a role model for my family, for my friend circle. So the power resides in your hands to shape yourself to become the best that you can, so that you're able to help out your family and friend circle first, and then extending your collaboration or your support to the community. So quickly to recall, our reaction to the pandemic situation should be whatever losses it has caused, let us forget about those things, like a volcano or a earthquake or any natural devastations which occur. This pandemic is also a part of the nature cycle. So the only way to get through this is, having the maturity to treat it as a temporary phase. So this too shall pass. Focus on compassion and collective well-being. We need to really move away from I, me, my family, extend it to the, to let the focus change from I to we. We as in your friends and family circle, and then we to us as in the community around you. When a situation is being handled in a collective way, when the burden is being shared among people, the stress or strain on the individuals goes down considerably. The second key point is healthy habits of holistic living. So that's what we had seen right from the basics of right sleep, right food, moderate exercise. So these are basics. These should be followed even during normal times. But this becomes even more important during the current time, because following the basics of sleep, food, and moderate exercise in itself, enhances your natural immunity. Over and above the vaccination, which only gives you acquired immunity. So just the basics of right sleep, food, and moderate exercise gives you tremendous natural immunity. And we need to not just take care of our physical self, we need to really take care of our entire whole of ourselves, that is our body, mind, and spirit. We need to work to really have a robust inner self. So don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits, come out of the comfort zone, and collectively, by working with each other, on an individual level, by following the welfare measures that has been discussed, we will be able to successfully come out of this. So with this, I conclude the session. If there are some questions, you can either post in the chat window, or you can also ask.
Yes, do you unmute everyone so that if anyone have questions, they can directly reach you. I think since few people are there,
Okay.
posting, they can straight away. You can unmute.
Yeah, sure.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, Kailash ji.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm Kailash from Jaipur.
Yes. Please go ahead.
The only question I have is that in between you mentioned that any focused, job of your choice or maybe your passion or whatever,
Yes.
is also a form of meditation.
Yes.
So, don't you think that meditation is a different form of focus wherein you need to keep your mind in complete control? And if you are, let's say, working for your hobbies, passion, and all, your mind will obviously be occupied in that. So, how does that relate to a meditation?
Kailash ji, nice question. This at the time of mentioning the point itself, I had subsequently mentioned this. People who are not at all familiar with the meditation, the process of meditation, or the immense benefit that brings to them, uh, to really calm their mind, to make it as a process something very easy to learn, for them to be able to relate to this. That's why I told these things which they do out of passion is equivalent to meditation. So that's the message I wanted to convey. To initiate those people who have not at all uh, done meditation ever, to initiate them into the practice. I had mentioned that the things this which they do in the normal life, like gardening or painting or anything which they do in which they lose themselves completely. So I told that just to encourage all people to take up meditation. I said they are equivalent to meditation. So see, because as a process, it completely calms you down. So they are not the same as meditation. So I had mentioned it only to encourage all the participants who are completely new to the process. I hope it clears your question, Mr. Kailash.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. So I think Mr. Arvind also had.
No. I don't. You're making a very good presentation. I don't have any questions to make.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, Magesh, I have a question here.
Okay. Please go ahead.
You are indicating that in 1913 we had faced a crisis, a couple of crises and other things.
Yes.
Okay. That time the mentality of people was entirely different. Okay, so there was no such sophistication level they had lived those times. Okay, so almost after 100 years we are facing this pandemic situation. I think that generation might have not lived now, except a few people. So almost 50-60 years we are living in complete sophistication level. So hence we are facing a lot of hardships in this pandemic. So it says pandemic is not a struggle, but the lifestyle which we are living made them as if it is fearing for a struggle. So correct me. So how does mindset has to be shaped on? Because everyone, you say you do yoga, you do meditation, wellness, or nothing will not work out when there is a fire situation came. Okay,
Yeah.
so we need to do that. So suddenly there was one emergency at our home. We can't sit and do meditation and relax our mindset. Okay, and that will also not help out, because so we have lived in so much sophistication level. Now we can't accept uh, the track which we have moved to a different one.
Yes.
So you need to you tell us how to
Yes.
do this face this situation
Yes.
without
So
meditation or whatever the way around.
see, Murugavel, this kind of virus starts as a local problem. See, there are, as per the WHO definition, so when this problem is in a particular location, it is called an outbreak. Within that country or on a limited geographical area, it has got affected, then it is an epidemic. When it has spread to many countries, it is called a pandemic. So this is the definition for the regarding the disease as such. So coming to your question, we cannot see. So there is a quotation by Einstein, which I recall at this point, which is relevant to our discussion. We cannot solve a problem by remaining at that level alone, right? So we need to go a level outside of it or above it to be able to solve that solution, right? So do you agree with me? So likewise, see the reason that people are not, they don't have the capacity currently to handle the situation with ease is because you are used to a way of life for several years, and suddenly something comes out of nowhere and disrupts your way of life. So see, that is because we on an individual level have taken life for granted. You what I mean to say is, like I mentioned, Murugavel, whatever sophistication levels you have reached, can you compete with nature? Let us take the natural phenomenon, earthquake, volcano, etc. Up till now, the research has only reached to the level where, as far as the cyclones and storms are concerned, we are able to get through the satellite monitoring, we are able to get the notification well ahead so that we are able to at least save lives, as we have done during the cyclone happened in Orissa and West Bengal last week. But we cannot stop the damage being caused to the property, right? See, similarly, this virus is a biological attack. We are currently in a war situation. People are not realizing, most of them, other than the people who are in the forefront of the war, the hospital people, the police, the traffic police, those people who are on essential duty, who are day in and day out, facing the difficulties, only they know the stress levels. Most of us are fortunate to have work at home options and get along with our life. Even to observe the limited restrictions, not limited restrictions, significant restrictions which is placed in our daily lives, this itself we are not able to accept. I'm saying out of 140 crore population, at least 10 to 15 crore population are people in the front line. Other than people in the hospital sector, I'm referring to all the people in the essential duty, whether it is police, traffic police, army, corporation, government. Those people who have to go to work, they are facing even more difficulties. Murugavel, being able to do work at home, 90% of, 90% of the population have to be thankful to the 10% of the population who are risking their lives each and every day, right? So, as I told, the answer to your question is right at the beginning of the session. I started with the prayer. This is the cause of a virus outbreak. There are only two ways it comes to an end. One way is that on its own, the spread rate, the virulence, that goes down, like the seasonal flu. The other way is where we, through our control measures, like they are currently doing, preventive measures like hand wash or all the 3-4 steps which we need to do, mandatory steps which you need to do. Hand wash, keeping ourselves clean, maintaining social distance. Those are the ways in which virus is there, but you are preventing yourself, safeguarding yourself from that. That is only in your hands. So answering to the point to your query, Murugu will focus on what is in your hands. Vaccination, getting vaccinated is in your hands. Following the health steps which is mentioned, you are already a practitioner, so no need to mention. You know, your own example, you can give it. You can be an influencer for your circle of family and friends. You can be a role model. See, one thing you will definitely accept with me, being a fitness practitioner, God forbid if you get affected also, definitely the fighting back ability is there. You make a recovery, right? Those people who are not having comorbidity, they definitely make a recovery. Even, you know, God forbid they get positive or something. Only people with comorbidities, we need to really protect them very well, because as I mentioned, this is an evolving virus. All the doctors, pharma companies, everyone, it is through real case studies that on a day-to-day basis we are getting more and more knowledge, and we are trying to develop therapy, right? So this therapy is after you have got affected, how to treat the disease. So that is developing as we move along. I hope I was able to answer your question.
To some extent, Magesh, but still I am not convinced. My question is how your wellness thing will help in this kind of firing situation. That's my
Yes,
straight direct.
point blank answer is, it gives you the mental toughness. It makes you immune to the, see, two quick replies. One, you are not affected by the scenario around you, even though there is so much negativity coming in. Because I am a meditation practitioner, I do my daily cleansing, I block out everything negative coming. Second thing, I know only this is within my ability. There is a situation happening around me, but I have developed ways to stay resilient, mentally tough, by following these practices. You know, see, what I'm saying is, situation is outside there, but you should have shield around you to protect yourself. That's how you can work at the, you know, your peak ability. Even during these times, you have been working, you have been taking care of your office work, you have been doing a lot of volunteering as well. You fear for yourself and your family as well. You might have done that, but as you started doing voluntary work, tell me honestly from your heart, as you've been doing voluntary work, doesn't that give you a great sense of solace,
No,
peace?
for me it's okay.
Hmm.
I am thinking of people who can't follow this kind of activities. See, for example, uh, we are living in a one mid-size sophisticated environment.
Hmm.
Okay, so what happened to the people or daily wage laborers? They can't do meditation, they can't do this kind of wellness program and all. So what is your thoughts for them, how they will come out of their situation? No, again, you
So
are for the people who are working from home or living in a mid-sized sophistication. Well, I thought I'm talking for the people who is below standards or someone, for just when they woke up, they don't know what to do the next thing for their food. Okay, in those, for those people, we can't ask them to please do meditation, please do wellness, make your mindset keep fresh and all. So for them, if you have any suggestion, that will be also well and good.
yeah,
I
I
think
think I will be able to take this on an individual basis with you.
okay.
uh, so if
have,
anybody else have a question.
I have something.
Yes,
That
yes,
prayer,
yes, Mr. Arvind, please go ahead.
that prayer that you said now in the beginning, 4 line prayer, that is saying that, accept the things that I can't change.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Exact word, but it says accept the things that I can't change, and have the courage to change the things that I can.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, yes.
So that's where the confusion starts. You know,
Okay. Okay.
sometimes, yes, everybody. I mean, when I'm calm, I understand that. But
Yes.
when I go through the tension time,
Hmm. Hmm.
where the confusion starts. Where whatever things that I should have actually accepted, I end up trying to change them. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
and whatever things that I should have had the courage to change, I rather accept and live with it. So that's where where to accept and where to have courage to change. That's where the confusion for most of us, even for a big-sized, sophisticated person, even though I may be a graduate and all those things,
Hmm.
confusion can happen. Uh, how to get clarity on that.
Yes. So the third line says, third line in this lines which I had shown in the first slide, it's called serenity prayer. It is meant to give clarity for laymen, for all people of different levels of understanding. So the third line says, and grant me the wisdom to know the difference. So it is from out of our own experience, knowledge, intuition, we will be able to figure out what is it that is within my capability, and what should be set aside for nature to set right on its own.
See, that's where sometimes I think that I am wise and I try to do things, but actually I may be doing something that's not really wise. For example, let me say I've got a symptom. Let's say I have a fever. It may be just an ordinary fever, but if I panic, I go to the hospital and teach the COVID-19. Fever is just a fever. The symptoms that are set for COVID-19 is all ordinary symptoms like cough, cold. See, that's where the blood happens. The number 2 line, number 3 line, and number 4 line. Number two
Hmm.
line, the things that I can't change.
Hmm.
Number have the courage to change the things that I can.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
fourth line is that says, grant me wisdom,
Hmm. Hmm.
something like that.
Hmm.
So, wisdom is not something, very few people have wisdom. And how do I know I'm really wise at that point of time? What's the yardstick? I mean, well, you said about meditation, but any specific technique that you're following for meditation?
Can you repeat the last statement again?
No, you are saying, yeah, I mean, the thing is that the prayer is a good prayer.
Yeah.
The thing is that, like, there is confusion. When there is confusion, we don't know what to accept, and we don't know which one to have be bold enough to go and change. And then, we don't know whether we are wisely doing things or not. And in your presentation, you said you took us towards the hobby, and you said we should learn to do self-inspection
Hmm.
and then meditate, like that you said.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's the very important thing, the gratitude journal, number one.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Self-inspection, sit on the easy chair and go through the daily
Yes.
activity.
Self-reflection. Yeah. That's correct.
Self-reflection,
Yes.
self-reflection, number two activity. Number three is, if possible, try to meditate,
Hmm.
something like that. Now, what meditation you're talking about here? I mean, like, what to meditate upon? Are you doing any meditation?
Uh, so what I meant to convey was, we know what are the methods for physical well-being already: sleep, food, moderate exercise. And exercise also, we know whether it is jogging, aerobic exercises, cardiovascular, or go to the gym, you have the trainers, right? Who give you guidance on exercise, whether if you want a lean physique, if you're an athlete, or specific physique, if you, for specific purposes, specific guidelines are there, trainers are there to help you to achieve that fitness levels. This is for the physical aspect. For the mental aspect and emotional aspect, it's been found that following meditation acts or impacts your body at all the three levels. So meditation, you need to learn from renowned institutions. So that is the meditation I was referring to. Meditation or dhyana, whichever, based on the suggestions from your friends who are already current practitioners, whether it is art of living or Isha yoga or Krishnamachari yoga. There are several schools of yoga which is currently available. Based on your own research, you can take up, you can start learning them. What I suggested in this presentation, your daily activities itself being meditation. Say it's a gardening or painting or reading. This was meant to those people who have not at all been exposed to the benefits of meditation. I wanted to ease their mind. This is not something totally radical or new. That's the point I wanted to convey to them, Marvin. Just to make them feel comfortable that this is I had mentioned.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. See, the thing is that there are some bad habits. Generally, anybody who's 30-year-old, 40-year-old will have bad habits, smoking, drinking, and all that stuff. Right? It's not good for immunity. Right? How to kick those bad habits? How to kick them? I mean, I know smoking is not good, but how do I get rid of it? It's not good for my immunity. It's not good for my lungs. But I don't know how to do it actually. I mean, I'm just generally saying, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm generally saying, generally a person who is 30-year-old, 40-year-old, people take non-vegetarian food, people take, drink, people drink, spoil their liver. It's not good for the immunity actually.
Yeah.
But then, how to get rid of it. There's a deep craving to have that alcohol once a week or something like that.
So I'll give a short reply here. I think more the detailed reply I can share on a one-to-one basis with Arvind. So different these kind of addictions that we're having, we have different professional bodies which are handling for alcohols, Alcoholics Anonymous, and similarly for smoking. So for all these, there are organizations which are handling, there are de-addiction programs, there are centers which are handling, which are helping people to really come out of the bad habit, to kick the bad habits that we tend to acquire. There are organizations which will help the individual to come out of it. So that's the quick and direct reply. So more in detail, Mr. Arvind, I can speak to you on a one-to-one basis and get it cleared.
Okay, thank you. Very nice.
So,
any other questions?
you can also type out in the chat window.
I think, Magesh, you can give your contact details in the chat because we are running out of time. And if people are interested in more discussion, they can reach out to you.
Yeah, right.
You can give your mail ID or something in the chat window.
It is already put in the conclusion slide, mail ID and contact details. I will put it in the chat window also.
And Murugavel, you can share the slides on the group so that people can benefit.
Sure, Srikanth. We can run our YouTube channel also. In that, we will mention this slide.
Yeah.
So if there are no further questions, I think Murugavel, we can wrap it up here.
Yes. I request Sika to keep up vote of thanks and way forward for this share and care series.
So may I right royally pass on the burden to Kiran Mai, who is quietly watching the session. Kiran Mai, please.
Shrikant, thank you. So yes, I guess I could relate to most of what Mahesh was saying, because we are living in unprecedented times, no doubt at all. And there were several methodologies each of us tried. So it's nice to hear from experts like Mahesh that uh, these are all some of the professional methods that can be tried and experienced. So thanks a lot for that, Magesh. And like you said, I'm not a very big fan of meditation. Somehow I just cannot sit and concentrate on my breath or any of the activities related to meditation as such. So thanks a lot really for giving the other aspect of meditation, like like what I practice, reading books or engaging myself into my daily tasks. So that's I mean, thanks for reassuring that it is also a kind of meditation. It kind of boosted my confidence, definitely. And I'm really not sure if I would try the core meditation as such, but still thank you for giving some tips on that as well. It's also reassuring that there is this Bitcoin society around us who we can always knock at if we are looking for support. And it's also nice to know that there are professionals like you who can support us in these testing times. So thanks a lot for that. And thank you everyone for attending this session. I hope you have had your key takeaways from this session. And like Magesh mentioned, you can always reach out to him again for any one-on-one sessions you would require. And looking forward to seeing you all in the further sessions in the series. Thank you.
Yeah. So Kiran, thanks for your concluding words. Just wanted to quickly add that contact details are shared in the chat window as well. People can reach out on a one-to-one basis through mail or phone, and I can help them out.
Yeah, I had taken out that one, Magesh, and I will put it forward to all our group people.
Right. So thanks everyone for attending the session. I hope I could really open up your hearts and minds to give you your inner confidence to develop. So that was a motive of the session, to really build your inner confidence levels. Thank you. Have a nice day.